You gonna make it there, James?
To be determined. I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
It's a matter of course, and to make myself feel better, positive thinking, you know. From a positive thinking perspective, I'm gonna say I'm going to make it. From a medical perspective, I'm going to say probably.
So what's up, guys? How you doing? Are y'all all right?
Just ducky. Too many games, not enough time. That's where I'm at right now. That's my that's my place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm looking at your list. That's a lot.
Yeah. And all of them are good. All of them are worthy of your time and attention. And then I'm just holding out for as long as I can before I buy Elden Ring, because it ticks a lot of boxes, and it will also be a somewhat unpleasant experience.
Yeah.
It's a layered, like an onion, you know? It's a lot of things. A lot of things.
It's like a 7-layer dip, but most of the layers taste like trash.
I was gonna say sword wounds, but sure, your analogy also works.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, why don't we talk about some games? Because this here is a video game podcast. Press X to podcast. Season 5. Face 2.0. We are failing hard at Face 2.0 because we've only got 2 faces. The idea of Face 2.0 was 3 faces.
Well, it's like Face 2 out of 3. Yeah. Face 2.2 out of 3, or Face 0.66666667. You know.
All right. I'll update our documents. I'll update things. The things that need to be updated will now say Face 0.666667.
Good.
It's a passing grade.
Yeah. It is. C's get degrees, baby.
Yes.
So anyways, this is Press X the podcast. Hello. Welcome.
Hello and welcome.
We are still not live because OBS does not play nice with Twitch right now.
Huh.
I opened up OBS and it said, hey, OBS doesn't work with Twitch right now. So until you update, you're out of luck. And as we all know, you do not ever update an app related to music, audio, video, or anything before you try to do something, because it will break.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to make sure we could at least record James's internal struggle about whether or not to play Elden Ring.
It's true. I'm struggling. I feel the pull. You know, maybe I just want to wander around a big, beautiful world and fight strange, horrifying monsters and come up with builds that may or may not work. Maybe be one of those guys that just shoot spells from a distance and they're like, you're not playing the game right. And I'm like, these are the tools I was given. You know, that sort of thing.
If and when I play this game, that's absolutely what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Cheese.
Yeah, you got to find the cheese. Holier the better.
Mm-hmm.
You can sneak a spell through that holy cheese.
Yeah,
I've been enjoying it personally. Elden Ring.
Oh, tell me more.
It's very good. I don't know. It's I'm not the best guy to ask because it's my first Souls game. But
that makes you the best guy to ask, because if somebody's not been in the game, somebody who's never in the game is a good person to bounce ideas off of.
I mean, I share the same sentiment as others. It's difficult but well made, you know. I haven't gotten too far. So Paul, I heard you talking about how the game is very front loaded. So I'll comment on that when I get to the later parts of the game, which will probably be 6 months from now. But yeah, I am enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I do not remember if I was recording or not when we were talking about that, but I have heard from reliable Soulsy sources who like these kinds of things that the front half of the game is pretty unique, pretty interesting, and then it gets repetitive. Like they wanted it to be real long and just didn't have the development time and kind of,
right,
did some stuff that would fill out the feature sheet.
Yeah, potentially.
But yeah, I mean, I will probably eventually play this and probably eventually hate this, like all Souls games. But yeah, I guess when people are saying it's the best game ever made, you got to coming from Souls people. You got to play it. You got to give it a go.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how little I am hating it though. I don't know, I've come across 4 or 5 bosses now that I haven't been able to beat that I've had to leave and come back to, and I'm surprised at how little I'm hating the game. I really thought that I would be a lot more frustrated with that, but I don't know. I guess they do feed you enough to like keep you going and keep you invested through the or between the boss fights that you can't complete. Like if you can't complete something, you can just turn around, leave whatever cave you're in, and go find a way to level up fairly quick if you want. So it I don't know. It keeps you engaged.
Do you have a magical steed?
Yeah. It's
okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's not a horse. It's like a bull made out of trash or something. It's yeah. It's not.
Sounds like something made by FromSoft.
Yeah, it's not a majestic steed like you would think. It's some fucking weird thing that they put together. But I mean, it gets you around.
What's the narrative like? Because they were saying that's a big thing. George R.R. Martin, all that nonsense. Is it anything?
Man, the intro FMV, not the FMV, but really the opening cutscene for the game, it's fucking brilliant. It's written so well, and the dude that voice acts it really like gets you fired up. It's like a scene from Gladiator almost. It gets you just pumped to go to war, and then it drops you into the world. And just what you were saying, the lore is if you like, you have to go out there and find it. And I don't think that it's exactly like, I don't know. It's certainly not Skyrim or anything. So far there's bits and pieces here and there, but it's very much like stuff you need to piece together, and if that's intended, then I mean, I guess they're doing a good job. But yeah, it's the lore and the world building, it's kind of been, I don't know, few and far between.
Okay.
But again,
that sounds relatively par for the course for FromSoft.
Yeah, like I'm still just in this opening area, just running around and trying to level up. So I really haven't gone anywhere. Maybe once I get into this first castle, it'll be a bit more thorough with that. But for now, it's really just I'm this tarnished thing that's been dropped in this world, and go have at it.
When you get into the castle, watch out. Because behind most of the doorways, there will be a guy hiding with a giant sword. Pre-programmed to hit you as you come through the door.
That's pretty cool of them.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Classic. Well, cool. I'm moderately encouraged that someone who's not played one of these things before thinks it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
I mean, if you have time to play a game that will keep you stuck on one single enemy for days at a time, then yeah, it's very well made for that. But if you got shit to do, I mean,
You don't just
If you
wander.
got shit to do.
they're not patching it into easy mode anytime soon. You know what I mean?
No,
Ever.
no.
But if you really want to get shit done, you should go play Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah.
Because you get some shit done in that game.
Yeah.
Any what kind of shit? What kind of shit are you doing? What are you getting up to in GT7, huh?
There's just so much. There's
Okay.
so many things. There's so many lively characters in this world. Actually, the character stuff is kind of lame. It's pretty badly written.
Okay.
There's all these people who are guiding you through the world of Gran Turismo. Like there's a guy who owns the coffee shop, and he gives you missions. Go get this car. Go tune your car. Go wash your car. And they've tried really hard to weave a lot of automobile history into this thing. But it kind of treats you like you've never seen a car before.
Okay, that's weird.
It's like, have you seen this? These are wheels. Maybe not exactly to that extent, but
I was
it
gonna
is.
say, like, what part of the game's like that? It's
Well, there was one part in particular. It was like Japanese front wheel drive cars,
Okay.
and the guy goes, "Have you heard of the Civic?" I was like, "Come on, man."
Yes. I only see like 4 or 5 of them a day. Anytime you're out on the road, you will see Civics. You will see so many Civics. It is the unofficial car of Vancouver.
And everywhere else in the world. But did you know that it was made by Honda and it's quite popular? It's quite popular.
that's nice.
That stuff I don't love, but
nice.
I do really like the racing. It's quite
yeah.
good.
Yeah, very, very good.
Rhett, tell me more about the driving experience of Gran Turismo 7.
It's. I feel like they've finally struck. Maybe not finally. Sport was pretty good, but they really have struck that perfect balance between simulation and arcade with this one. It's not as hardcore as your Assetto Corsas, your iRacings, where you have to worry about, like heating up your tires over the first couple laps and doing all the little like deep intricate things. But there's enough here, I think, to keep any simulation enthusiast very happy. The physics feel great. All the cars are a blast to drive, whether you're in a fucking cheap Honda Civic or, a Formula car or like a supercar. And then it's just fucking gorgeous to boot. My goodness, these vehicles look good.
It really does.
Yeah. Especially if you ever take the time to go into photo mode and just shoot some of the escapes.
Let's talk
like,
about photo mode because
man, it's unbelievable.
they give, there's something like 2,000 real world locations where they're plopping the GT model into however you want. You take a picture in this location.
Oh, okay.
And it's fucking gorgeous. All ray traced out the ass. It's just, it looks like real life. Like most of the shots I've taken look like real life.
It's a neat trick.
Photo mode for sure.
The photo mode, yeah, absolutely.
I think they still have a ways to go with the way cars contact the ground, especially during racing.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of that. This thing's kind of floating above the ground. It's not really touching. I don't get that it's
Like when you watch
driving
the
on
replay?
this surface. Yeah,
Right.
particularly in a replay. It's fun
Yeah.
during racing. But
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking that the other day. I was watching, and I feel like they could add a little bit more rotation to the tires. front tires especially. But yeah, I know what you mean. It does have this, I don't know, this sort of floaty look to it. It's hard to explain.
I think it's got something to do with the shadowing. I assume if they had the rendering budget to do some additional ray tracing, you know, ray traced global lighting and not just reflections, that would probably help.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like the cars don't affect the ground in the sense of light. Like they don't occlude your ability to see the ground.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Interesting.
how'd you feel about the selection of cars, Rhett?
Well, I mean, I'm still working my way through. I've got a lot to go. To be honest, the first time I fired it up, sort of like sport, I started working my way through each different make, and you know, you'd get to Nissan. Nissan's a good one. You get to Nissan and you think there's going to be just a huge selection of them, but there's, you know, 5, 6. That pops up through more of the brands than I thought it would have. I thought that there would have been like a big selection of vehicles from each brand. But I mean, with that said, there's 400 and some cars in the game at launch. They added in sport, they added close to 200 post launch. So I can imagine that this, you know, in a year or two's time, I'm sure that the car list will be, I don't know, another 100 cars deep at least, and I'll be even happier. But I'm fine with it now. Why would you think of it?
I was pretty disappointed, to be honest. I think it's missing some cars that you would absolutely expect there to be in there.
Yeah.
You know, for example, they don't have the new Corvette. It's like, really? You couldn't get your hands on a Corvette and scan that baby in?
Mm.
And things like that. You know, the list is drastically pumped up by the number of racing versions of cars.
Oh.
You know, there's multiple versions of the, I don't know, RX-7. There's multiple versions of a lot of Japanese cars. There's multiple ones. It's like, this is the Castrol Supra. It's a Supra, but it's a race Supra. It's got logos on it.
Right.
And they've always done that. But I felt like there should have been more cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe there will be. But the racing itself feels phenomenal. I'm actually relatively impressed with the AI.
Yeah, they can be tough.
They, you know, they don't crowd you out of the way if you're, you know, going around the outside. Like they won't drive into you, which is a far cry from previous GT games. And thankfully, this game does not suffer from rubber band AI, where the AI does not play by the rules of physics once they're out of sight.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. Forza Horizon 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be real here. If I sideswipe a car and it goes sailing off the side of a cliff, it should not be right behind me in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Sorry. If I go to the effort to sideswipe this car and make sure it slams into a barrier, it's out of the race. Okay?
100%.
Because then they can do that to you, you know? Then they can just come back and be like, how about we just come in and box you in and knock your ass off a cliff, and then, well, I guess you get to try again after you buy a new car. I don't know.
With real money. The stakes have never been higher.
Or you watch like a fast time pass thing as you're like in the hospital for 6 months, or like watch the rehab because you were in the car, went over the cliff. Some like montage music as you like get all your bones back together. Yeah, good stuff.
Mini games, probably. That's something that could be in GT. Physio mini games.
Yeah. One thing that the game really, really benefits from is that, and as so many others have, that PS5 SSD. It really makes grinding through like the license challenges, getting golds, all that stuff, where it's just like you do 10 seconds of racing, you fail, you reload, 10 seconds, fail, reload, etc., etc. It really, really makes that shit much more tolerable, much more bearable.
Mm-hmm. Yep, would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, the loading is incredible, actually. But whether you're, doing just a quick little 10-second license test or a big long race, it's pretty much instant.
Mm-hmm. It's very much the fade to black, fade back up, regardless of what you're doing. I kind of felt, this is a little off topic, but I kind of felt like the license tests are easier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are some that
most
will
of them on a first try.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some that are a bitch. Absolutely. Like in sport, I think that there was maybe one that was a challenge. They were just laughable. In 7, it's nowhere near what it used to be, but there will be ones that challenge you. There will be ones where you're pounding your head against the wall thinking, how am I ever going to beat this? But yeah, it's a far cry from it's a far cry from the glory days where it was like pretty much everyone, if you wanted gold, it was going to be a battle.
Yeah, there were at least a couple versions of the game where it was like, you want the super license? No.
Yeah.
No, you can't have it.
Yeah.
Like there's no way you're going to beat this.
Yeah, you are not super. So get
it's true.
Super and you'll get
Maybe
the
I'm
license.
super now.
Yeah.
If I'm super now, I might have a fighting chance at Elden Ring.
Oh.
Probably not.
I'm sure that the high precision driving and high precision dodging are like the same skills,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were probably playing mostly with a racing wheel, hey, Rhett?
Yeah, and it's very good with the wheel. They improved the force feedback. They improved the torque. Yeah, it feels very, very good on the wheel. They just released, or Thrustmaster rather, they just released a new direct drive wheel for the PlayStation specifically. I really want to get my hands on it and try it with GT because apparently it was like made for this game.
How did they get away with calling their company Thrustmaster?
Yeah, I don't know. I got to assume their board their board members are probably mostly male. They probably skew mostly on the male side. I'm gonna have to guess.
Maybe
or
they should.
Perhaps they were. Yeah. I was just gonna say maybe they were in a different industry to begin with.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now we make
penetrate
racing wheels.
the top of the class,
For sure.
Fuck your way to the highest level. I don't know. Subtlety's out the window.
They're
Wheel is
sitting
your
around.
cock. All right, that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. The wheel is your cock.
Right.
It's good now. We fixed it for you. Yeah.
Yeah. They're sitting around on the edge of bankruptcy with all these small motors, small devices that use motors. They're trying to figure out what to do with them. And then they end up in the simulation racing wheel business. Interesting.
Yeah. Like a bolt from the blue. That's what that was.
Like to be a fly on the wall at that cocktail party where they made that pivot.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, we really teased our listeners and viewers at the beginning of the show by saying that James was playing lots of games that he loves and they're all great. And we didn't say what any of them were. So James, the floor is yours. Let's hear about what you've been playing.
Let's start with Triangle Strategy because I can technically talk about the most of that game out of the 3. Mostly because I played the most of the game. So The battle system is good. If you're into Final Fantasy tactics and strategy RPGs that are turn-based, then this is going to be right up your alley. You know, there's a lot of different classes of fighters you can use. People who are good for support, people who are good at magic, people who are ranged, people who are just like big-ass bruisers, guys who are on mounts. Most of the mages that you get at first are just good for like one type of magic, and eventually that changes. But you get this opportunity to build up a pretty diverse party, and there's a lot of different configurations used because you pretty quickly end up with more party members than you do slots for any given battle. So you have to, make certain decisions and decide what you're going to look like. And that's excellent. And you can do like a fast forward thing where you can like permanently change the speed with a thing in the settings so that if you're doing any kind of level grinding, that's great. Don't do that, though, if you don't absolutely love level grinding just for the pure joy of it. Doesn't bear as much fruit as I thought it would, at least in my experience. Maybe maybe your mileage may vary. Maybe you are just better at than I am, or maybe you're just more patient. But I found that like I'd get stuck. Like I should level grind. And I try that and I play again. I get creamed. And I'm like, you know what I should do? Is change the difficulty setting. So I did. And then I made progress. Because there's like 5 levels you can go between. And I was like squarely in the middle. And that was silly. I don't need to do that. Because really, what they're testing is your strategic knowledge and your mastery of the field. And if you, for example, have not done that and you're like, man, I kind of just want to experience the story and get through this shit, then, turn down a little. Not a lot, but like a little, But here's the other half of it. And I mean the other half. Probably like fully 50% of the runtime is you talking to people. You wander through the town of your kingdom or your castle, your domain or whatever the fuck, however they pronounce it. I couldn't listen to the English dub for more than an hour because all of the voice acting sounds so tired. Like they are just, I must recite these lines and do so with as much clarity as I can. And it's just, could you light a fire under the asses of some of these people so they sound like they want to be there? Anyways, I switched to Japanese almost immediately, and it was a huge improvement because I cannot tell if these people are exhausted, overworked, and underappreciated. So either a lot of the times you're spending conversation with your subjects, with your political opponents, with other members of other kingdoms to like make big decisions. Your kingdom, Glenbrook, House Wolford of Glenbrook has this superpower, and the superpower is essentially a voting booth. They call it the Scales of Conviction, and basically what it means is that you and the rest of your council members, whoever else is in on the gist, puts their votes in, and then you make life-changing decisions based on the results of this vote. So what you do is before the vote happens, you talk to all the members of your squad, and you kind of try to gently nudge them one way or the other, depending on what you think should be done. The first big decision you make, super easy, super obvious. Oh my God, of course we're going to do this. That's so silly. Every decision after that forever, very nuanced, very difficult to say what's what, very difficult to say what is going to be the better option of the two. Like the one they show off in the demo, or they did like a year ago, whatever, you have to decide whether or not you're going to sacrifice this little shit of a prince because he's kind of like the last surviving member of the royal family who's not like a puppet of the enemy. And you can give him up to the invading army and they might let you guys live, give you a chance to run away, fight another day. Or you can stand your ground and fight and burn down like a non-zero amount of your kingdom in the process, defending it. It's not great. But you have to make decisions like that all the time. And it's like a big, significant part of the narrative. And I actually found it really kind of interesting and compelling. Once you get into the actual meat of the story, it's great. The lead up, like the prologue where it's like, oh, everything's fine, we're all getting along and it's great, is fucking exhausting. But then when you But then when it gets to the war and the conflict and the good meaty shit, then it's excellent. Then it's nuanced. Then it's interesting. Then there's all these fascinating themes that they're uncovering, and the story is great. I felt like the pacing was a little weird, where doesn't feel like it's balanced quite right. Like sometimes a little bit too much talking, or the battling isn't paced quite right. But like, oh man, the graphics are excellent. If you like that 2D HD style, it's right up your fucking alley. It's so good. If you're missing Final Fantasy Tactics, this is exactly what you're looking for. If you want something different mechanically, this is going to be good. If you're feeling patient, even better.
Any idea how much things change if you tip the scales in the other direction?
I kind of just... I thought like maybe I should save scum and like see other options, but it felt too disingenuous. Because like, that's the thing. Sometimes the vote doesn't go the way you want, even if you do your best to manipulate people because you sucked at it. And then they're like, oh, well, no, your arguments were terrible, so we're just going to go this way anyway. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this. And that's fun. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's never like, I don't know how much it changes. I think if you'd sacrificed Roland in that big second choice, it would have made a huge difference, because he's like a major character, and then he'd be dead, and then there'd be no war at your doorstep. Or there still would be, because the guys invading are huge assholes. Like every other kingdom but you are just the worst motherfuckers. It's like you can either like you make the decision in the beginning. You can either try to entreat yourselves to the warmongering militant lunatics, or the religious fanatics who keep slaves. There's not a lot of good options.
And you're no win.
And the fun part is your character, the main protagonist, gets hitched in the beginning before it all goes wrong with one of the Rosellas, the slave people that the religious zealots keep. So that automatically makes your dealings with them harder. And she's also distantly related to the warmongering fuckwads. So like,
oh, of course.
So every part of this is stacked against you. That's the other thing I loved about the story, is that it always feels intense. It always feels stressful. It always feels like you're just on the ragged edge of defeat and you're squeaking out victories. And it's just like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? We're so fucked. What are we going to do? It's awesome.
That's what I was going to ask, is about the difficulty. In the demo last year, I felt like the balance was pretty off. Like I cruised through a lot of it. No issue. And got to, I guess, probably one of the final encounters and just got absolutely smoked repeatedly. Is that still the case, or if they found a nice balance?
I think more or less. The battle where I ended up turning the difficulty down, there was like a character you had to keep alive no matter what, which always sucks. And he was being stalked by a real tough motherfucker who could just like run up and like smoke you good. But here's the fun thing. At literally any time, you can go into the menu, go to the encampment, and level grind. Literally any time. Oh. Yeah, so if you're like, oh man, I can't beat this battle, you can just turn the battle speed up, go to the camp, and then just run one of the training scenarios over and over again, and just like harvest experience. And like the way the battle system is set up, you're encouraged to use the skills that give you more experience, because your mana, your TP or whatever is continuously regenerating. It's not a finite resource that you just completely run out of at some point in the battle. It just constantly regenerates 1 point per turn. So you're just encouraged to just constantly come out swinging with your hardest moves. And then there's like guys you can get whose only job is to restore TP to people. So you can like, and there's like a whole class of people whose only job is to like be good at using items, or like to use more items, or like be more effective with them. So there's ways you can do it. And like one of the guys you get in the beginning is just a buff dude. All he does is he buffs like offense and defense and like move speed and like your ability to traverse terrain. Yeah, it's fascinating. I like it a lot. I think
I could tell.
I think I landed it around like a 78 because the pacing is really, really weird. And it really feels sometimes like you're like, oh man, this is awesome. I'm also falling asleep. It's both things. It's both things at the same time. It's very strange. But like the battle system is fucking excellent.
I mean, it kind of sounds like they tried to make two different games, because you might expect that kind of slow pace from a different RPG, or one that's not so much of a tactical turn-based battler, because people are used to the Final Fantasy Tactics sort of thing where everything happens and it's part of a battle. So to kind of try and mix those two things up seems like they didn't exactly hit the mark, but credit for trying. Yeah,
it's a really fascinating experiment, and I'm really happy that they did it, and I really hope they keep doing weird shit like this. I think it's excellent. It's not perfect. I don't really care. I like it anyway. Yeah.
Is that the same team that made Octopath Traveler?
I believe so. The engine is the same for sure.
Can't wait for the next weird title they come up with.
I think it's the same guys or the same engine they're using to do Live Alive and that like souped up version of Dragon Quest 3. Mm-hmm. And those both look like tons of fun. Yeah.
Here's a sort of related side note. How did I not know Chrono Cross was coming out on the Switch?
Yeah. It's like a remaster. It's coming out for PS4 and Switch and maybe PC. It looks crisp, and I volunteered to review it because I really want to know if I can successfully play through the whole thing. I found it really daunting.
I don't know, man. Game's like 100 hours long, if I remember correctly.
It's extremely weird. The battle system's completely bizarre. There's like a million characters. It's like the strangest story that Square Enix has ever told. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little obtuse.
Incredible soundtrack, though. One of, if not the best in video game history.
Yeah,
pretty damn close.
The composer who does it is like, anytime he's on a soundtrack, you're fucking cheering. You're like, yes, oh my god.
I can't remember what it was called, but there's a 2D RPG that's being developed that is spiritually inspired by Chrono Trigger, and they went way out on a limb, and they're like, let's just ask Mitsuda if he'll write the music for this game. And he was like, yeah, cool. All right, sure.
Is that Sea of Stars, I think? Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I think that one's later this year, but I'm pretty curious to see that one.
Yes.
All right, Triangle Strategy. Pretty good.
Yeah.
You got anything better for us, James?
I can definitely talk about the first full world of Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a Kirby game.
Yeah.
You inhale things.
Yeah. Sometimes those things are too big and you just take the shape of the thing. Like a...
Okay, that's fun.
Like a vending machine or a traffic cone or a car or like a... You'll find like there's this one where you'll find like a circular engine part, like a big ring, and it turns you into this like air blasting thing that like poofs air out.
It sounds ridiculously adorable.
Yeah.
Like all Kirby things.
Yeah, it's something about the trailers made it look like it was going to be a big open world game, but it's not.
Oh, it's not?
No. If you could compare it to something, I would say it's a bit more like almost like Super Mario 3D World, a little bit like in a structure where you have like stages that you go through and you complete, and there's like little goals you can do within the like, because it's like you get to find like Waddle Dees, like hidden Waddle Dees in every stage, right? And there's like 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever in every level, and or something. The amount changes every time. It doesn't matter. And then in doing so, it's just like a little extra completion to like wrap things up and like do a little extra thing, which is kind of like Mario 3D World, and they're like very contained. Like the perspective of the levels is kind of like that, where it's like 3D, but like from kind of a fixed perspective sometimes, or it will like change once in a while. It's good. It's just a good Kirby game. Also, something I did notice, you get an opportunity to like look through a sort of gallery where it's like, hey, here's all the different Kirby games. Here's some highlights from some other Kirby games. There's a lot of Kirby games I've never even played. Like there's a whole like decade, 12 years span where it was like, oh, check out all these sweet Kirby games. I'm like, I touched none of this. No idea what this is all about, if any of it's any good. But this one is cool, and I like it, and it plays well, and the music is good, and I assume the co-op is good. I haven't really experimented with that yet, because I don't know. Wow, man, I've got to do it.
The Kirby games you haven't touched, I'm assuming that's like pre-Kirby Superstar era.
Oh,
or between then and Kirby's Epic Yarn.
There was like a bunch after Kirby's Epic Yarn. It was like 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's like the Triple Fighter Deluxe, and then there's like Planet Robobot, and then there's like some other ones. I don't know. It's wild. It's wild. There's a lot of Kirby games out there that I've just not heard of. So I'm wondering if there's like crazy innovations that are just like, oh no, they've been doing this for like 5 games now. But the copy abilities are cool. You can that. I think I can talk about this. I think so you can like upgrade them. Yeah, there's a lot of abilities. And thinking you upgrade them. And they're good. They're fun. It's fun. It's fun seeing what they do and how they go.
Love that description. It's good. It's a good Kirby game. And sometimes that is the most accurate thing you can possibly say.
Yeah, like, that's kind of always how it's been with Kirby games, where it's like, they don't stay in my head for long, and they don't like. It's hard to say, but like, oh, I love this about them. But when you sit down and play one, you're always like, oh, this rules. I'll play more of this. I'll get into this. They're very good at like making about like crafting an experience that you love when you're playing it, and you almost immediately forget about when you're done.
Yeah, I really appreciate how almost all the Kirby games they're very digestible and bite-sized. Oftentimes it's really easy to jump in and jump out, have a nice time, and even if it's not that memorable, like I remember the time I spent with Kirby. That was fun. Fun.
Yeah, there's little upgrades and cool things and extra stuff you can do that I find compelling and fun and engaging. It's just a great excuse to play more Kirby. And like there's like mini game things you can do, because there's like the regular stages in the world, for example, and then there's like these little ones that pop up, and you just go in there and you do a little quick challenge. And those, if you want to make the like target time, pretty tough actually. Pretty tough for a Kirby game. They really want you like really on top of your game there. Got to move as quick as you possibly can through this thing. It's crazy. So there's that. If you're like, man, I really want a greater challenge in my Kirby game, it is absolutely there. It's excellent.
I'm sure there's at least one person who's looking for a very challenging Kirby experience. It's not me,
No.
but someone.
Yeah. I just,
Cool. That
really,
sounds pretty awesome.
yeah, just really appreciate having a 3D platformer where I'm like looking for secrets and stuff. Love that. Never get enough of that. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that market got so saturated right around the year 2000 that people went completely away from it. And for good reason for that little stretch of time, but they just never came back to it. I'm always down for a good collectathon. It's like a zen thing to do. It's just enjoyable.
Banjo-Kazooie's on the Switch now.
I heard that.
Yeah. That's
The ultimate purest form of the collectathon.
yes, absolutely. Like every 30 seconds. Hey, I'm a flippity derpledobs. You need 35 more of me. It's like, okay. Cool.
Recently, I found a YouTube video that was like 8 hours of the voices from Banjo-Kazooie.
Why?
Just back to back. Like, here's like 10 minutes of Banjo. Here's 17 of Kazooie.
Okay.
I don't know what it was for. I would like to find a use for that content, though.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, I've been playing more of Destiny 2, The Witch Queen, the new expansion. Not done the raid yet. The raid was opened up this past weekend, which I been out of the community for a bit. Didn't realize that there's such a large contingent of people that are interested in being the first person to finish the raid. And there's quite a race. A lot of bragging rights and street cred on the line. And it took people like 5 hours to beat this thing.
Jesus.
Yeah. But the regular content that's in The Witch Queen, really good. The art, as you might predict from Bungie, is fantastic. A lot of impressive vistas and nice looking areas that you'll explore. And the story is pretty well told as well. The lore of Destiny is ridiculously deep. But this is some of the best stuff they've done. A lot of the narrative is told through these kind of almost ink drawing sort of cutscenes, where it's, ink drawings of things that have happened in the past, and they look awesome. And as always, the shooting is amazing. It's just really fun to play. So even though this is very much a looter shooter where you're always getting something that's better, unlike Borderlands where it's like, this gun shoots 1.3% faster than that other gun you have. There are particular reasons that you want to go after specific things, or you're looking for specific things, depending on how you want to play the game. I think they've done a nice job balancing the abilities and balancing the various playstyles that you can do in a way that they didn't necessarily at the beginning of Destiny 2. And I fell off of the original game pretty hard because it was all about collecting materials. You're just collecting materials endlessly. They've got a lot more activities and things that you'll be doing in this day and age. And even though it's a little bit repetitive here and there, and you kind of have to grind to get to the various levels that you might want to be at to do other activities, it's fun to get there. It's a good time. So if you've been off the Destiny train, I think the Witch Queen is a good spot to get back on. And, just have a nice time shooting some aliens. It's a good game.
All right. Dope.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything they would like to bring up as far as video games go?
Rhett?
I've been playing the new WWE, but I only got it yesterday, so maybe next time.
That's probably embargoed.
It's
assume?
actually the embargo lifted today, 12 hours
okay.
after
Let's
I got
talk
the
about it.
game. So, yeah, it's good, but again, really don't have much time into it yet, so it's tough to really give an opinion on it so far. But I will say, like, much better than the last one. Huge step in the right direction. Yeah, it's good.
I was going to say, you said it's good. The last several have been
Awful.
a blight
The
on
last several,
civilization.
honestly, I think the last 10 have been just trash, almost
Yeah.
unplayable. So yeah, this one though, I'm having way more fun with it than I was the last several. So yeah, we'll see.
Good.
We'll see how it holds up though.
Yeah,
Like
but-
I kind of feel like I always go through the same thing with these games. The first like day or two, maybe the first week, it's sort of fresh, so it's fun, but then it gets old very quickly. So we'll see where it goes.
Right.
Do we have Create a Wrestler?
Oh, the best one you'll ever see. That's the one thing these games always do right, is their creator wrestler is second to none in the industry.
Have you created a custom wrestler? And if so, can you tell us about him or her?
No, I didn't create one yet, but there are these incredible new super heavyweight body types that dude's like 6'5". He's got to be 600 pounds. So I'm going to make a guy like that and just...
Oh, so your little profile log icon like that. Like you're going to do one of those, right?
Exactly.
Ow!
Actually, that guy who's sitting on the other guy, it looks like he will be the first bit of DLC coming to this game. So I'm very excited about that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yokozuna, for anybody that can't see Yokozuna sitting on some poor soul.
Okay.
I can't unsee it, Rhett.
No.
Yeah.
I've looked at it enough for a lifetime, in fact.
Looks like he's giving birth.
Yeah, it does. I hate it, but I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else for anybody?
I finally I finished Cyberpunk, so I started Returnal. Yeah. Yeah.
How'd you feel about the end of Cyberpunk?
I find it fascinating, actually. I really find the story pretty fascinating of Cyberpunk 2077. Like, the idea that, like, the powers that be, the corporations, the larger, you know, the big bads are unfucking stoppable. Like, these, like, there's nothing you can do to affect this. And also, the idea that, like, you, as the protagonist, are fucked from the beginning. And it's just like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you think you were going to get out of this alive? Because you ain't. And it's just a matter of choosing how you die. Fascinating. A fascinating twist on the usual protagonist narrative that you get in games like this. Where it's just like, and I in my hubris, did what a lot of people probably did. And I gunned for a ending that I thought would keep my ass alive. And they fucking monkey's pawed me. Right? Where it's just like, ha, you thought that was going to work. Radiation poisoning. Still dead, motherfucker. Like, oh, okay, cool. So really what I should have done was go out in a blaze of glory like a badass instead of not that. Because that's the other interesting thing is that right from the beginning, every character in the game is like, do you want to live a quiet life or do you want to go out in a blaze of glory? Listen to those fucking people, okay? They are correct. They are correct. They have the right of it. You want to do that because you get to the end, you sacrifice everything you can to stay alive. It's not worth shit. It's not worth a hill of beans, man. So just listen, follow your heart, follow your gut, go guns blazing, explosions in the sky. Just do what you got to do because nobody gets out of this thing alive. especially not in this fucked up dystopia that they built, you know? I like that. I like that about the story. I think it's very fascinating.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. There's definitely beats where it's pretty clear what they were going for. It's the stuff in between that I had a problem with. You know, I really enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed the beginning of the game for sure. Like, all the origin stories are pretty interesting. I just wish they had done something with that. You know, your character has a death sentence throughout the most of the game, but you never feel like that's the case. Unless you're doing a specific story mission in which there's something that happens that makes you feel that, or reminds you that that's the case, you could run around Night City for 10,000 years and have zero consequences.
It's true.
And I get why there's no like countdown timer of you will die in this number of hours, but I don't know. I think they could have peppered a little more of that throughout the story to make it feel higher stakes. I actually feel that way about a lot of the city. It feels a little bit disposable.
Most of the people who live in it are, but you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Zingers.
Yeah, they get the dystopia part of Cyberpunk right in the fucking nose. It's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And
what are your thoughts on Returnal?
It's tough, and the progression feels very stop and start. And it's interesting how the biomes are built out of a limited number of pieces that are just sort of shuffled around. Like, you start to recognize certain individual segments pretty quickly as you're running through it. I played for like 2 hours and I probably died like 15 times. So I've really getting my money's worth out of that whole like recycling, dying and coming back thing. And it's interesting. I love the atmosphere and the environment and the world they built. I love this like sci-fi horror thing going on where all the alien stuff is like disgusting and scary. I think that's awesome. I think like the world they've built is fucking excellent. And it's kind of, you know, too early to tell whether the mechanical progression and the way it all sort of builds and unfolds is going to really satisfy. But like, I have a feeling with a little patience I could really get into the nuts and bolts and the meat of this thing. It's going to be awesome, you know? I think so, at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of on the cusp of my favorite part of the game, which surprisingly is kind of the narrative and the story of Celine herself. You know, you've definitely run into places where you pick up an audio log and she comments on, "This is me. I don't remember recording this. How long ago was that? How many times have I died?" They do a lot of very interesting stuff with that.
It's interesting how even in your very first run, you're like, oh, you've done this a bunch already. That's something. Like, this could be attempt 31 based on like context clues in that first run. Mm-hmm. It's really really fascinating.
Cool. All good then?
Yeah.
That was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I think some people who know stuff about games liked it quite a bit last year in the Game of the Year discussion. Something like that. I don't know.
It was definitely in the running.
Third.
Yeah.
What did we give that? Third?
It was somewhere in the top 5, I think.
Yeah, it was high. It was high.
Yeah. It was news. Let's talk about news. James, bring me the news.
Okay. Let's talk about a little big thing first. Like 3 weeks after Pokemon Legends Arceus comes out, they drop the news that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are coming at the end of the year. Now,
I can't believe they found 2 colors that they hadn't used.
Apparently they trademarked them like almost a decade ago. When it comes to Pokemon, I promise, sleuths have found out crazy shit about every aspect of the franchise. Here's what we know so far. Based on dedicated clever fans, we know that this takes place in their version of Spain. Based on like the locations and the decor and the names and stuff like that, like a lot of little clues in that first trailer. This is a version of Spain. Some people have been like, well, what if it's South America, or what if it's this, or what if it's that? And they're like, there's a stronger case for Spain. From what they've described, it's going to be a very seamless experience between towns and the wilderness, where it's just going to be like Pokemon are going to be wandering around all of these places, and there's not going to be like a borderline between like civilization and the wild. We don't know yet, unfortunately, whether or not they're going to keep the amazing, incredible catching mechanics. I personally think that a lot of the stuff mechanically of that was in Legends Arceus, they have to drop it, because if you put those mechanics in a game with like a trading system and an online battle system, it'll be fucking broken. Because it was so easy to hunt for shinies, it was so easy to get Pokemon, it was so easy to like level grind and like do all this other stuff. It's like it was all a lot of the mechanics in Arceus were custom tailored for a single player experience, and they don't really translate well to multiplayer, which sucks because they were awesome. But I think they'll probably try to take as much as they can without fucking up the multiplayer meta. And it just remains to be seen how much of that there's going to be. But
it really looks like it's going to play like Sword and Shield. Pretty close anyway.
I mean, yeah, which isn't the worst. Even if they just iterate and learn from some of them, the weaknesses of those games, that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. And like, I personally had like no complaints about Sword and Shield. I fucking love Sword and Shield. I played both of the DLC expansions. I thought they were awesome. I probably put like 130 hours into Shield. I thought it was great fun. Had like no problems with it. I think the idea of like blending the borderlands between like the wilds and the towns and just having Pokemon just out and everywhere, I think that's great. Mm-hmm. I think if nothing else, if they can treat every space you can explore like the big wild spaces that you could explore in Sword and Shield, perfect. I don't need anything else.
Yep.
You do that for me. Yep. That's all I ask.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you decided on a starter Pokemon?
I think it might be Weecat.
Okay.
Just as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, you look like you're made of pot. Look like I could pluck a little bit off you and smoke you. That's cool. Maybe you're going to be my guy. Because here's the fun, cool thing about starters. It's a sort of like invisible difficulty setting. And it's like this for every generation, depending on which one you pick. And they don't tell you, of course. You just figure this out for yourself later, is that each one represents a sort of hard, easy, and normal mode. And it used to be that fire types were the hard mode, but then they made them fire fighting, which is like a big muscly win button. You're just like, here, use this, smash it as hard as you can. Every gym will fold like laundry underneath your fists. It's fine. And then it used to be that like water and grass for like relatively simple, because you'd always run into like a rock gym or like some shit like that, or a ground type that you'd have to beat at first. Not so much anymore. Lately, it's been like fire is easy mode, and like grass and water sort of compete for normal and hard. But like, yeah, man, it's cute. It's probably going to stay cute or grow up to his third evolution and get real weird. But that's fine.
It's called a Sprigatito, apparently.
Yeah, it's Weed Cat. I don't give a shit what they call it.
Yeah, fair enough. I do like the water duck's hairdo. It's got a good swoop to it. Quaxley.
Oh, hell yeah, Quaxley.
Yeah, that guy knows what's up.
They're all winners in their own way. Honestly, this is a good generation of starters.
It is. It is. If they have this level of quality throughout the other new Pokemon, they won't. But if they do, James, that would be pretty good.
Yeah. Personally, I hope that the quality varies wildly. I want to see another fucking garbage bag Pokemon this generation, or one that's just like a key ring, a set of keys and a key ring, or like an ice cream cone. Sign me up.
I like how obvious it is where that Pokemon came from. You know, someone came to the artist's desk and said, "We need 7 Pokemon by the end of the day." He was like, "Oh, fuck. There's a garbage bag there. Garbage bag Pokemon. We're making it." It's got a face. Love that guy.
Yeah. Here's a fun thing that I like to think about. The guys that made Pokemon, like the original team, the dude that first cooked it up was obsessed with collecting bugs when he was a kid. So the bug Pokemon are very obviously his favorites. So like bug Pokemon in these games are always cool. Always. They've got the Hercules beetle, like the one with the crazy horn. They got that one in there. They got like the Scyther. Scyther's awesome. Scyther's cool from way back.
Scyther's pretty sweet. I will say though that at least in the cartoon, Metapod got way too much screen time.
Yeah.
Undeservedly large amounts of screen time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Rhett,
what else is going on in the news?
I was going to ask real quick, Rhett, who's your starter that you're picking?
I guess I'll have to go with the fucking fire one since y'all took grass and water.
So how it's gonna go? We're gonna have a Pokemon battle later. I'm gonna have Wee Cat, and then we're gonna have Donald Duck, and then you're gonna use that sweet little alligator dude.
Yeah, what's his name?
Who? Fuecoco.
Oh, that's so.
You have to say it Spanish.
Yeah, Fuecoco.
And for some reason, it's got like 3 teeth, so it's undeniably adorable.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely take him. I'll bet you he turns into something fucking big and mean.
I think Wee Cat will turn into something uncomfortably sexual.
Yeah.
I've been awakened yet again.
Yeah, it's gonna have a body custom made for furries. I'm calling it now.
Perfect.
Calling it right now.
Like level 3 is a full biped cat.
Yes, level 3 is going to be weirdly horny. I'm calling it right now.
I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pokemon. Don't ever change. Please.
Yeah.
Change just enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, but do change, kind of?
Like a little bit.
Do change, but
Yeah.
Don't change those parts that we love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Change a little.
Like the horny
Just
cat.
Yeah, like horny cat. Yes, please.
Okay, wait, hold on. What's the step between weed cat and horny cat?
That depends. Because it'll either just become a bigger and bigger cat, and it'll be like a big, weird, muscly cat. And if that's the case, it'll just be a smaller version of that. But if it's horny cat root, then it'll be like upright, but still kind of chibi, like little pudgy limbs, where he's like a little short. He's like, haha, look at me, I'm a cute little cat, and I'm on my hind legs now. Isn't that great? So that'll be the middle step, or it'll just be like a bigger version of a cat. But like either we cat will either be like a big, buff, weird, long-limbed monstrosity, or it'll be up on hind legs with human hips and smoky eyes. Those the only 2 options.
This is weirdly plausible.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna get like 100. I'll give you 100 Pokemon points if this is the case. At the end of the year, you just tally those babies up.
Yeah.
Okay, what else is going on? Delays.
Yep.
Who could have guessed that? There are delays.
I saw a couple. I didn't look for very long. I saw that Forspoken is being pushed back to September or October, which
That feels right.
it's a Square Enix game. They cannot possibly hit their initial target release. They just can't. There's like scrolls that have been uncovered in the ocean caves that say Square Enix doesn't get to release a game on time ever again going forward. Like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine because it comes out late and it comes out great. Perfectly all right. Maybe they're...
And they perennially have a game, usually smack dab in the middle of September, that is pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
All the Tomb Raiders came out in September.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy came out in September last year.
Yep.
If this is as good as Guardians, hell yeah.
Well, it's got that sassy, back-talking, big swearing protagonist with the magic. People, listen, here's the deal. What they're doing is an isekai story, okay? So you've got a regular human, regular-ass person thrust into a world of magic, which is an unbelievably popular genre of storytelling in Japan, to the point where, like, I think still like 20% of the new anime that's released every year is like, I've been reincarnated in a world of magic or whatever. And it's just like, it's so common. And now Square Enix is making a video game that capitalizes on this powerful energy. I think Forspoken is going to blow the fucking doors off of certain markets when it drops.
And it's a proud Japanese developer tradition to use the tropes of anime, even if it's not a quote-unquote anime game. Use an anime trope, one or more, to create yourself a world that transcends the anime fan market. Case in point, Metal Gear.
Hell yeah.
That whole saga, it's a fucking anime. And
Completely.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, so many elements, especially from that first game.
Oh my god.
Well, and the second game. And the third game. Also the fourth game. It's an anime.
Yeah.
Front to back.
Yes.
The fifth game has no story, so
Yeah.
yeah. Rat, we still need to do that Metal Gear Solid breakdown cast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'd love to. Maybe when they announce the official either MGS1 remake or this MGS3 remake, that might be a thing.
Ooh.
A piece of news came out today that apparently Sony has officially acquired the rights to a very popular Konami IP. There's, I mean, really only two to pick from: Silent Hill and Metal Gear. I guess they have Castlevania, but
Honestly, whatever they scoop out of Konami's fucking hands, we all win.
Yes.
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
doesn't matter what it is.
yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine if they scoop up the rights to either Silent Hill or Metal Gear and hand it back to Kojima?
Yes.
Wow, how
Honestly,
poetic
either
would that
one.
be?
It's like, here, it's a gift. Please never retire.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
never stop making games. We got custody of one of your children back.
Yeah. And please don't make things for Xbox.
Oh no.
Well, that's
No,
the rumor, is that there's a new IP for Xbox from Kojima Productions.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is why they bought Metal Gear. They're trying to nip that in the bud right now.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, but in the credits of Horizon Forbidden West, there's a lot of Kojima Productions. Special thanks to Kojima Productions. Kojima Productions, bunch of people doing whatever they were doing, I forget. But I think the relationship is still pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, so even if they're doing some other stuff elsewhere, I think that's where the loyalties lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
They also delayed the Halo Infinite co-op campaign.
That's right. I don't know to when.
Raise your hands if you are surprised.
Nothing. Okay.
We'll
Well,
assume that Rhett's not raising his hand.
yes.
No.
I mean, it is what it is. If they're delaying it because they want to put more content into the campaign before they bring co-op on board, great. If they're delaying co-op because it doesn't fucking work, yee.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Well, yeah, it's true. It is. It is. But you know what? If they can make it work, awesome, excellent, amazing. I don't know why, but I want this to work out for them. Mostly because I think Microsoft needs a couple of wins so they don't slowly shift into more of like a Sega/Netflix role where they're not really making games anymore. They're just like the place where the games are. You know what I mean? Like I think they really want this to work because they want to still be the company that does shit like this, even though no part of their business plan includes these things.
Yeah. I get that. And they also have to leapfrog. Like this, it has to come out and be amazing because open world, co-op, lore dense Halo already exists. It's Destiny. And it's better than Halo. So they got work to do.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
You know what? Because like Halo really did sort of like appear and disappear, just a little blip on the radar. Like I don't follow as much gaming content online as some people, but like holy shit, did that game ever like and disappear as soon as it dropped.
The internet has absolutely turned on it.
Yeah.
Especially on the multiplayer. There was that blip when it came out for a month or so. People were pretty happy with it. They thought it played well. That narrative has 100% flipped to it being broken and buggy and people don't want to play it because it's improperly balanced. And it doesn't help that the multiplayer lead just bailed from 343. Yet another key individual dropping off the project.
That sucks.
Yeah. And let me be clear. I want it to be good.
Yeah.
I want the co-op to come out and I want it to be amazing. I want them to make that grappling hook feel good. I would love that.
Yeah.
Will they do that? I don't know if they can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, other news. Let's see what we got here. Oh, right. The war. War has been
uplifting
declared.
Topic.
Yes. We're going to wrap it up with talk about the war. Specifically, particularly, especially sanctions. Now, what's been happening is people and companies around the world have decided, hey, maybe Russia's not cool anymore, but so they're going to cut things off from them. So PayPal is cut off, and so Apple is cut off, and so Netflix is cut off. And so all these services and all these products are just no longer being available in Russia, which is kind of a shitty tactic because you're just putting pressure on the average citizen, and you're not directly affecting the people responsible for the bombs and guns and murders fuckfest. But I guess if they get mad enough, then they revolt. So it's kind of like an indirect strategy. Anyways, the point is, game companies have stopped selling their products in Russia. Specifically, most recently, Microsoft and EA have decided that their shit is no longer going to be available in Russia until Daddy Vladdy fucking pulls his troops out and gets his head out of his ass, which obviously isn't fucking happening because he has crossed the Rubicon, my friend. He is halfway across the river of blood. It is just as far to go back as it is to go forward. He's definitely not doing that.
Yeah. Anytime you see him in a clip or whatever, he does not look well.
Well, no, he's
like
old.
This has to be his his swan song, his legacy building thing, right?
Yeah.
We can hope.
Well,
for a swift resolution. We can hope for a swift resolution to the situation peacefully.
Yes.
There we go.
What's probably going to happen, and I'm going to say this right now, the least qualified person to make assumptions, guesses, or predictions based on the situation. I'm not a war correspondent. I've spent no time in Europe, so I don't fucking know. But all the whispers and the rumors and the wonderings and the maybes, all those are saying maybe they're going to run out of money pretty fast, and then they can't really do a war anymore. Maybe when you have a country run by oligarchs and corrupt motherfuckers who are siphoning and funneling funds into their own pockets instead of actually supporting and propping up the systems and the departments they're in charge of, then the whole thing is kind of like like those towns that they build for like Western movies back in the 50s and 60s that look like real towns and real houses, but it's just balsa wood that's painted nice and it's just like set up like prop like that. Like it's kind of like that. Also, a lot of the tanks are like Cold War era gear and like you said, a swift resolution, and then Russians everywhere can go back to playing Xbox and posting weird, out-of-context screenshots of GTA on Imgur and Reddit.
As is the proud Russian tradition.
That and blowing things up in the country. That's what I want. I want the war to be over and for us to get back to those amazing, amazing Russian videos of Russian rednecks getting drunk and being out in the snow, like pantsless and like setting fires and like blowing up cars with like heavy artillery. That's what I want, man. I want that world for us.
Let's make use of all that space, honestly.
Yeah. Truly,
it's pretty safe when there's that much space.
Yeah. If any bridge will be built between all of our cultures, it will be the bridge built by rednecks. The common, unified love of taking old wrecked vehicles, cramming them full of dangerous illegal explosives, and setting them off from a barely safe distance while several cameras are rolling.
Hear, hear. And on that note, I think that's going to bring us to the end of this episode 5 of season 5 of Press X to Podcast Face 0.6666667.
That's the one.
That was almost rap horn-esque. Thank you. I figured somebody would do it.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know, James, you've got like a lot on the go. Anybody else have stuff coming up they're working on, or I guess you got WWE, right?
Yep, chipping away at that.
I really don't know what I'm up to next. Maybe I'll fix OBS so it will work with Twitch.
Yeah.
I would like to just do this live.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Maybe next time. So stay tuned for that, viewers. I know you'll enjoy it because, hey, you enjoy the recorded version? Imagine if you could potentially affect the outcome of this podcast in real time.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more stimulating and enjoyable on Earth than that.
No.
True. All of your comments and inquiries and messages about my mannerisms and my voice, my personality not even slightly matching my face. I can get that feedback live on the moment by moment, and I will ignore literally all of it, but I'll have it, and that's the important thing.
Well said. And so, if you're one of those listeners or viewers who's watching or listening to this right now, and you made it through the last hour and a half, potentially keep your eyes peeled on Twitch, because we might be there. We might be there live, doing this thing, which is unedited at the best of times. I can't imagine what will happen if it's live. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. It's an important time to be there for the people that you care about. And we will see you right back here next time for Press X the podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
What if you don't care about anybody?
Well then,
Oh,
I don't
shit.
know, man.
Fuck. Then I guess it's just a sad existence.
Yeah, the saddest sack. That's the one.